The government has announced it will introduce legislation to make a coward punch a specific offence. It used to be called a king hit when the victim is hit unaware. The government says people can...
Because you're not aware, Chewie. Most people are really aware that they're going to get hit. They stand there and they're aware that the fist is coming. They're going, okay, I'm aware that that's going to hit me. That's most people apparently who get punched. They're aware. Not like every single person is unaware to some level.
Can be killed or suffer lifelong brain injuries. Yet perpetrators often receive lenient and insufficient sentences. But one prominent lawyer says existing laws already deal with this kind of offence. Adam Hollingworth reports.
Punches like,
oh no, not meaningless legislation that create a good headline on the Herald that aren't going to help society one iota but look good in print and enable you to say we're tough on crime. Not that kind of legislation again, Chewie.
these can be deadly, and that's why the government is acting.
Well, it's the level of, cowardice for a start. The victim has no notice, and because of that, the chance of them defending themselves
5 to 10
is just
working
impossible.
days.
So we want to...
I'm wondering why Mr. Peters is dressed like Tony Soprano. Well, has he just been to like a dinner theatre or something? I'm confused by the look.
spell out how acceptable it is.
What we're doing with this legislation is sending a clear message from Parliament to the courts and to society as a whole that this is something that we won't tolerate, and if you do it, you'll get an extra severe sentence.
We're on the side of the victim, not the offender.
Under the proposed changes, maximum sentences would be 8 years if the offender intended to cause injury or acted with reckless disregard for safety, 15 years if the offender intended to cause grievous bodily harm, and life for a culpable homicide.
Can I just say as well, none of the ones they're showing are what we think of when it's a coward's punch. Those 3 last ones, which looked horrific, the people were face to face the whole time. That's not a coward's punch. A coward's punch is when you fly in from behind, no seeing, no nothing. So even the media is now talking about this legislation when these people, I mean, it's horrific footage. I'll mute it while I play it, are standing in front of them, hitting them, standing in front, hit them. So it's not that they're not king hits. So is the media just got it wrong, or are they not aware? Like the coward's punch or the king hit is typically when you don't see it coming, when someone runs in from behind. That's what it is. None of those would have been a part of this legislation. So what the media is showing you to reinforce this story is not what the legislation is going to rule on, which just goes to show how difficult it is. The editors didn't know. Editors at TV3 didn't know what one was because they put the wrong footage in there.
A recent case, promising MMA fighter Falvake died here after being punched in 2021 on Auckland's Simon Street. The man who threw that punch, Daniel Harvey, received a sentence of 2 years and 9 months.
For the victims like Foe, his family, and for other victims, this will certainly act as a little bit of solace that at least
yeah, my son died on Simon Street, but at least the next person is going to get an extra 2 years. That makes me feel so much better. This is just lunacy. It's a ridiculous talking point.
Out of those deaths, there has been some movement.
Falvake's trainer, Mike Angove, is on the board of the Walk Without Fear charitable trust. He says education and legislation is the way to go.
But if you don't have a serious deterrent in terms of your sentencing, then there's no real disincentive to change your behaviour.
So, Chewie, following that theory, we should make it the death penalty, because if people are going to change their behaviour based on the sentence, then make the sentence as severe as possible. Then everyone will be angels. It's just mind-numbingly stupid. Mind-numbingly.
I think the fundamental thing that all of these people are missing is the guys that are throwing these punches aren't writing up a pro and cons list before they do it.
Yeah.
They all think they're going to get away with it.
Yep.
And they're not aware of what the sentence is. It's not a deterrent.
And they're drunk in Simon Street at 2 a.m. Yeah.
It's not like this. I understand that the government wants to seem that they're tough on crime, and the only thing that they have in the bag is to increase sentencing because they haven't been able to get more police to be out actually on the streets stopping these things before they happen.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
that's the deterrent, is I can't smack this guy in the face because I literally saw a cop 2 doors up walking the beat on a Saturday night. That's the deterrent. Thinking that you will get immediately pinched for it.
And Chewie, this government's in control of that because they promised us 500 cops by the end of this year, and in their first 20 months, they got like 30 brand new ones. So they're onto it. They've got it sorted out. How about this, Mr. Luxon? How about you pay your cops? And I'm not necessarily saying this is just me calling out the bullshit. How about you pay your cops $200K a year? Then you'll see if you've got a shortfall at the end of every year. How about you pay your nurses $200K a year? See if you've got a shortfall after that. How about you pay your doctors $500K a year? You know, what about all that money that's going to landlords and tax rebates, refunds? How about you put that into the public sector, maybe as Gary Pender would say, somewhere on the front line, and then see if you've still got staff shortages. I suspect you wouldn't have anywhere near as much if you drove all that money, all that $19 billion into nurses, doctors, police officers, armed services if you want to. There'd be no shortages.
I see we've dragged in a bunch of crunchies on this one, actually.
Whee! Welcome.
So, go cry, woke lefties. Cool. Thanks for your input. Look, nobody's in the corner of these people throwing these punches.
Of course not.
Like I've been, like I would say that I've been coward punched in Cuba Street when I was up in Wellington by a fucking drunk teenager, high out of his mind. I said something he didn't like. He ran up behind me, hit me in the back of the head. You know, it happens. But for these politicians to sit there and go, oh, we want to create a deterrent. It's not a deterrent. I 100% guarantee the guy that smacked me in the back of the head wasn't worried about the consequences.
Of course not.
They never are.
Of course not. I mean, this is what the consequences do. The consequences remove that person from society for a period of time. That's all they do. Now, this is leading quite nicely to Tamara Paul's conversation, because when they're in prison for longer, they then get upskilled in the ways of crime and they come out being better criminals. We'll get onto that next, but let's get to the end of this.